Hello everyone, welcome back to Perfectly Imperfect Designs. My name's Teresa, and today I'm going to make a spring or Easter cross on a yardstick. So what I have here is just a regular yardstick, of course 36 inches long. That's how all yardsticks come. What I've done is cut the yardstick right on the 14 mark. So you just cut right there on the 14 mark. The 14 inches is going to be your crossbar. The rest is going to be the spine of your cross. So I'm going to set this like this. Take my crossbar. I want the 7 to be in the middle of this since that's our halfway point. So right below the 21, I'm going to place the 7. Now I'm going to hot glue this, and I'm going to use E6000. Okay, making sure that my crossbar is lined up with the 21. First I'm going to take some E6000 and put that on there. I don't think you'd want to do this with just hot glue. I never have. I've always used E6000 and hot glue. Okay, so I got a dab of hot glue on the back of that, E6000 on there. I'm making sure my 7 is in the middle of the cross and lining it right up underneath the 21 mark. Now I paint the outside of mine. You don't necessarily have to paint yours. I do it after I get them together so that I can actually see the numbers on here and everything's level, you know, balanced out on both sides. So I'm going to clip this, and we're going to let it dry for a little bit. Okay, now that our cross, the glue has set up and it's holding well, I'm going to paint my yardstick. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're really probably not going to see a whole lot of this, but I just like to know that both sides of my cross are finished. It's up to you whether you paint yours or not. And to finish it up, like I said, we don't have to put a lot of coats on here because you're not going to be able to see it. Just going to put the last touches of paint here on the very end. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can still see through the cross. You could go ahead and put a second coat on if you would like. You can put as many coats on it as you want to. I just do it because if somebody is looking at the back of the cross, when we get done, you will be able to see it. I could take the time to cover the back of my cross and everything else, but I don't, because I think it looks nice and neat when I finish. Okay, while our cross is drying, I'm going to set this to the side and we will cut some mesh. So hold on just a second. Okay, you guys, I'm using 3 different types of mesh. The first one that I'm going to be using is this white poly burlap mesh. Then this is called Windowpane metallic mesh, and it's in white and silver. You can see the shine in that. I'm not sure that the camera's picking it up. And I have a lavender and white. Now I will have all the item numbers listed down below in the description box for all the mesh that I used and the ribbon and whatever else that I used for this project. What I'm going to be doing now is taking my cutting board My black lines are 10 inches apart. We'll start with the white, and I'm going to use my wood burner. Set something heavy on here. This candle will work. Take my wood burner, go down here so I know that my pieces will be exactly 10 inches apart, and cut. Turn to stay in the line. Cut your piece of mesh. Okay, so here we have one. I'm going to show you the fold that we're going to be doing. I always make sure that my finished side of my square, when I bring up the bottom, here's what we're going to do. We have a diamond. We're going to turn this into a triangle with the finished side of the mesh being on my right. Then I'm simply going to turn it over, walk it up the middle, flip it, now I use these little rubber bands. You can find these at the Dollar Tree. And what I like to do is I make up all my petals first. Sometimes you got to kind of twist it a little bit. Put this around here. Now you could absolutely skip this step if you wanted to. You could just make your petal and slip it onto the yardstick like I'm getting ready to show you how we're going to get these onto the yardstick. But this is what you have. Kind of looks like angel wings or a flower, however you want to look at it. And this is called the Rita petal. That's the name of it. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly how many pieces of mesh that I'm going to need. But I think I'm going to cut about 16 for starters. Okay, this is our Windowpane metallic mesh. Now, when you cut this, you have to kind of cut both sides. See how it's, that's not really a finished edge. That looks all frayed. So what I do is go right down the side of the finished edge in here. And it gives it somewhat of a more complete look. Okay, so I have that done. Then back over here, I will cut to this side of this edge. So for the Windowpane mesh, again, I have it in a triangle, or I have it in a diamond. I'm going to bring it up into a triangle, making sure that the finished edge is on my right hand side, because I want all my petals to look the same. Start at the bottom and walk your way straight up and flip it. Then you squeeze it together, straighten things out a little bit. Grab a rubber band. And tie it around there. You want your rubber band to be up about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. And now we have our checked metallic, or it's called, yeah, checked metallic deco mesh. I'll have the item number for it down below. So that's the second type of material that we're going to be using, the second type of mesh that we're going to be using anyway. I'm actually making the same petal with all of the, with the entire cross. So here we go again. I have this lined up with the black mark. Now I have to make sure that I go down the middle of one of these. Pull this out. And it's just way easier to use a wood burner to cut poly burlap. Than it is to use a rotary cutter. Okay, this is our third type of mesh that we're going to be using. And it's just called poly burlap check. Okay, so I have the diamond. I want my finished edge once again to my right. Turn it over. So your triangle's upside down. Grab it by the point and go straight up the middle. Just flip it up. I like to kind of adjust mine before I put the rubber band around it. Adjust it while it's in my hand. Just take my rubber band. And wrap it around. And now we have, once again, the Rita petal with this type of mesh. Okay, so we have this one, and the plain white one. Now I'm doing my cross for an order, and these are the colors and materials that my customer chose. I'm going to do one more petal, and then we will complete the rest of them. This one's already cut. Well, don't like it when something's cut inside the roll, but there's not much I can do about it at this point. Okay, one more time. Put your square in a diamond, bringing up the bottom to make a triangle, making sure your finished edge is on your upper right. Then I smash it down, take my point, walk my way up to the center, and flip it up. Then take your rubber band. You can get these rubber bands at the Dollar Tree, in case I didn't tell you. I love this petal. I just think it's delicate. I love it. So yes, this is called the Rita petal. Okay, you guys, I'm going to cut, I'll just cut 10 of each piece, just to make sure I have enough and I won't have to go back and cut anymore. If whatever I don't use, I can always use in a different project or another cross. So what I'm going to do is take the mesh, finish cutting out my squares, and then we'll get the cross frame. We'll get the cross frame back on the table, and we'll go from here. So let me cut these, and when I get back I'll show you a couple more times how to do the fold, and then we'll start placing them on our spring cross. Okay, you guys, I've cut 10 of each different mesh, 10 a piece. The chalk poly burlap, the solid poly burlap, and then we have the metallic check deco mesh. Or no, it's called Windowpane, metallic check Windowpane mesh. I'll have the correct name and listing down below in the description box. And before we keep going, I wanted to ask you guys if you like learning how to make different kinds of wreaths and crafts. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you would, and hit the notification bell so that you'll get notified every time I go live or upload a new video for you to watch. And if you would please share this with your family and friends, that would be wonderful. That helps YouTube notice me a bit more and helps people to be able to watch my videos. So, okay, so we're going to get started. The color that I use to paint the cross is Lilac Mist. Apple Barrel Lilac Mist. I'll have the item number down below. And I also wanted to tell you guys, when you are cutting the mesh, poly burlap, whichever one you choose to do, you know, because this can be made out of several different kinds of mesh, not just poly burlap. You can use Deco mesh, you can use anything. But if you're using a wood burner, it's a good idea to wear a mask because it does put off fumes. As you saw, my wood burner smoking, we're burning plastic. So it is a good idea to do that. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I have 6-inch zip ties. I'm just going to start loading some on the bottom of my cross. I'm pulling it up. You don't want to do it all the way because you won't be able to get the tip of our petal up underneath there. So just remember, just like put it on just until it clicks. And I can always add more to it. So let's see, what am I going to start out with? There's 5. We'll put 7. We'll start out with 7 on the bottom of the cross. It's just easier to get all your zip ties on there first. Okay. Now I'm going to start out with our white petal, or solid white. So what I'm going to do, hopefully you can see this, I'm just going to put this right here on the bottom of the cross. Bring down the zip tie. I like to use my wire cutters. I like to use my needle nose pliers to pull it tight, and then my wire cutters to cut off the stem. There we go. A little tighter. Okay, and then I just simply take my wire cutters and cut it off. Okay, on to the next one. We have the white one on there. I'm going to do the lavender one next. Okay, so when you put your next petal on here, make sure it's covering your zip tie. Pull this one down. Make sure you get that up underneath there. Again, go ahead and make sure your petal is adjusted right, so that you cannot see the zip tie underneath this petal. I'm going to be putting a few other things in here, so okay, there we go with that. Cut that one. Moving right along to the Windowpane metallic mesh. Put it right here. Pull down the zip tie. Tighten this up and cut it off. And once you get going, you're moving right along. So here's what we have so far for the bottom ones. Okay. Back to the whites. Lay this down on here. Pull down our zip tie. Now, when I get this completed, I'll be able to tell you how many petals I actually used. But you definitely want to make sure that your petal is pushed down over top of the one that you previously put on, as close as you can get it. Sometimes you have to finagle it down there. Okay, tighten it up and cut it off. The next one is our lavender. I'm just simply putting one on right after the other. And you guys, you don't have to use 3 different kinds of mesh. You can just use one kind of mesh, and it doesn't have to be poly burlap. Like I said, this is for an order, and this is the colors and the type of mesh that my customer chose. So that's what I am making. Okay, I only have 2 left, so I'll have to add some more, but that's okay. I have plenty. What we got so far. Next is the shiny Windowpane mesh. This is again Windowpane metallic Deco mesh. Moving along to the next one again. We will have white. Another thing that I want you to notice, I'm not laying these flat, particularly like this against the board. I'm kind of putting it up on top of the one before it. Looks like my rubber band might have come loose on this one. Okay, so what I was telling you guys earlier, if you don't want to tie the bottom of them with rubber bands, you don't have to. You can wait until you get your zip ties on your cross, on your yardstick, and then just hold it like this and stick the whole thing up underneath there. Just like this. Adjust it the way you need it. Before I get mine completely tight, I like to look at it real good. Make sure nothing's poking out in between it. Okay. Alright, put some more zip ties on here. I love this color purple. I think it is so pretty. This is just a good idea if you don't have a wreath frame. You want to make a cross. And if I can make it, anybody can make it, guys. Well, now see, I got that one a little too tight. I'll have to struggle with it to try to get the mesh up underneath there. Finish up this bottom real quick, and then we'll move on to the sides before we do the top. Okay, so what am I on now? The lavender. Scoot it down. And zip it on up. The next one will be our sparkly mesh. Stick this up underneath here. I'm going to be adding some lavender to my cross. So it's also going to help cover up between each petal, which really doesn't need to be covered up because you can't see up in there. Nobody's going to be staring at your cross. That's the bottom of it. Okay, cut this off. Back to the plain white. Now this is the one I got a little bit tight, I think. See if I can get it up over there. Okay, I did. Push it down. Adjust this one a little bit. Okay, push that one down. And tighten it up. Finish up this bottom part and I'll turn it around and show you what the back looks like. Like I said earlier, I don't cover the back of my cross wreaths when I make them like this because I think the back looks very nice and neat. And what I will do for a hanger is I will be drilling a little hole right here in the top of my cross and then putting some type of a hanger through the hole. I will do that before the end of this video so you can see how I hang it up. And I think I'll stop with do I want to stop with the lavender one or do I want to stop with the sparkly one? I think I'm going to stop with the lavender one since it's the only one I got left. And this one here is the one that I got too tight. The very last one on here. But that's okay. And whoa, pull it up. Okay, cut this off. Alright, now I'm going to load up zip ties from the other side. This is the bottom of the wreath. For a yardstick cross. Let me turn it sideways for you. Okay, so I'm going to be making the top identical to the bottom, just reversed. I don't know exactly how many I will need. Now, anyone can make one of these. All you got to do is find a yardstick. You can go to any home improvement store and find one. And like I said, I'll have the mesh listed below, but you don't have to use so many different types and kinds of mesh. This is just a specific order that I got. So, okay, since I started with white down here, I'm going to do white up here. Slide it down and over. I'm going to put the, see how far I have that over? About that far. It's about 3/4 of an inch. I'm not sure how that looks on that side of the camera. Okay. Next is lavender. Pull the next one down. this one. Once you get going, it goes pretty fast. On to the next one, we have regular white going on now. Plain white, I should say. Well, come on, don't get mixed up now. There we go. This one in. Adjust it accordingly. And white, and then if I do the purple right here. Let's see. So what I will be doing is I'll cut some more shiny pieces because I want the middle. I want all the pieces that come together to end with the shiny piece. I just think that's going to look the best. Tighten this up. One more on here. One more so far. I may add more. I mean, of course, we still have to do the crossbar. I think that the shimmery petals will look good right here where everything meets. This one down here. Put it up underneath there. Yeah, I like this one right here. That off. Put one right here. And grab a different one. Put this one right here. Pull this down. Stick that up underneath there. And pull it tight. Okay, now we've completed the top and the bottom. Now I'm going to start adding zip ties to this side of the crossbar. Not sure how many each side of the crossbar is going to take. When I get everything completed, I'll tell you how many petals it took of each color and kind. I think I'll start out putting five or six. And five. This will be our fifth one. Okay, again, since I started with white on each side of both sides of this, I'm going to start with white over here. Right there. Slip the zip tie up over it. Hold down on it. and tighten it up. Just repeating every single angle of the cross the same way. I am going to be making a bow for the middle of this because my customer requested a bow. Wait. I have one left on here. So I'll be adding one more after this so that I can add the white metallic window pane to it. Mesh. So I want all sides that come to the center to end with the window pane mesh. So grab one and I have to put one more tie on this side. Now it's getting tight down in here, but it is still possible, as you'll see. Okay, put this right through here. Add my final piece of mesh to this side of the crossbar. Now the possibilities are endless with this. You can use so many different kinds of textured mesh. Of course, so many kinds of colors. Or you can keep it basic and simple. Alright, cut this off. Let's see, how many did we put on that side? 5. I think it was 5. This is the back. It looks very nice and neat. There's absolutely no reason to put a backing on it unless you just like for your wreath to have a cloth back. Sometimes I do. In this case, I just don't think it's necessary. The mechanics are still all nice and neat in the back of it as well. Okay, there's 2. How many did I have over here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, put 4 more on this side. Okay, and since we started with white on all of our other corners, that's what we're going to do on this corner. Put this through here. Take my zip tie, cover it up. This is going to be also my first video on TikTok, so please check me out over there. Of course, I'll be going a lot quicker than I am here. Alright, the lavender. Pull this up and over. My needle nose plier, my handle just fell off. The rubber part. See if I can just squeeze this back on real quick. Yep, not a problem. Okay, after the lavender is the metallic. Go in there. Slip it up underneath there. I may have to cut one more lavender, or maybe even a couple more. Just depends. Let me get these put in and then we'll see. metallic is the white again. Up and over. My little nub right there. Through the white. So now we're placing the very last petal down the very inside of the crossbar. Tighten this up. And she did ask for a small bow to be put in the middle of it, so that's what I'm going to make. I'm going to put a small basic bow in there. Stronger than what I think, huh? Pull that right off of there. And make sure it's tight though, so nothing falls off. Now this cross would be good for your door, your wall, the cemetery. The more you twist, the more the wires will flatten out in your center. Okay, again, I'm not doing my tails until I get it on there. And we're going to add a little bit of lavender into this. Now, I am not the greatest bow maker by any means, but practice makes perfect. Okay, now I'm going to grab the cross. Okay, you got the cross. I'm taking these two pipe cleaners, going right down into the middle of this, and wrap it around. Okay, I don't want to smash it, so I'm not pushing it all the way down. Twist. And I will cut this off here in a minute. Okay, like I said, I'm going to be adding some lavender into this. And I still have to dovetail my ends of my tails. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I'm just going to cut them off. I'm cutting them way down. I don't want them this long. Trash can. And this one. Okay. Now I'm going to dovetail my ends, and the way you do that, you fold it in half, cut from the folded crease side towards the wire going down. It's much easier to cut if you start on the folded side and instead of trying to cut it from the wire on. Make sure that's down in there good. Alright, so I have my glue gun plugged in. This one goes this way. Sometimes you have to get in here and mess with them a little bit. Again, I can fluff my bow till the cows come home. I don't know what that means. I'm just going to run my fingers up underneath my tails so they all lay pretty, and then spread them out. I'm not going to curl my tails for this particular cross that I'm making. Alright, I got my glue gun plugged in. And I'm going to take some of these lavender picks that I got from Walmart. And I'm just going to put little pieces of this into the cross, into the petals. Let me show you. Let's get some off of here. Alright, I cut them, but I still don't want them this big. So I'm going to use little pieces of this. Alright, I'm going to take little pieces of lavender and just very sporadically stick these into the bow. And I'm going to put a few in the petals, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, here's our first one. You don't want to cover your loops when you're putting your greenery or flowers or what have you into your bow. Just want it to barely peek out so you're not overdoing it. One over there, so I want one over here. And I've got glue webs everywhere. Just how it goes. Okay. Oh. Now I have this. And let's see. I don't want to overwhelm the bow, but I do want these peeking out as well as in the petals. You'll see that in here in just a second. got that in there. Yeah. All right. I may add some more to my bow, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with these. Now, I know that Walmart still has this lavender right now. Okay, I'm going to take little pieces, little sprigs of this lavender and put it into my petals going through. I don't want a whole lot. I just want little bitty pieces sticking out. This one. And again on the other side. I may add more. I may add more of the lavender. It just depends. You'll be able to see in the thumbnail. Well, you'll be able to see it hanging on my door too. So. Now, I'm not laying the lavender flat down in there. I'm kind of standing it up. And these little touches of lavender really make a difference. Okay, I want that one down in my bow. Standing straight up. So it's coming out towards you. Kind of brings the bow to life. Okay, I'm going to put some up here. Going up the middle of the cross. And you can decorate it any way you want to. You know, you could leave this part out. It really doesn't matter. Just whatever you like. I just think it brings some life to the bow. Some down here coming up. And okay, I'm going to finish adding the lavender. And we'll see what we have going on next. Hold on just a second. Alright, you guys, since I didn't make a hole right here before I got started, which is the ideal thing to do, and then you can just loop a zip tie or a pipe cleaner through it. I'm going to take my pipe cleaner, wrap it around here, twist it good. Now, it's not going to go anywhere because this petal is stopping it, so it is in place good. Then I'm going to take the top of this, twist it onto itself. Again to this side. Make sure you got it twisted pretty good so your loop will stay. There you go. Now I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on here. I mean, I know it's not going anywhere. This is just, I guess, reassurance purposes. let that set up and dry. Okay, you guys, this is the completed spring/Easter yardstick cross. I will get a picture of it hanging on the door so you can see better what it looks like. But I added the lavender down the middle and to both, into the crossbars and to the top. So please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video or go live on YouTube. Please share with your family and friends. This helps YouTube notice me more, and that helps me a lot. So until the next video, take care, y'all. Bye for now.